Chubstep.
Jrad. Podcast.
Creating the oil development.
Steed.
Chub. Step.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the king of the jungle.
This is Dulé Hill, a.k.a. Gus Silly Pants Jackson. But you know what? You can call me the number one fan of the number one podcast in the world, Chubstep.
He burned us. Gypsy son of a bitch burned us. Excuse me, sir. What are you doing to my friend, Bozo? You burned us.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And the show has started.
Hey.
Hey, guys and girls. We have a special guest today, Big Money Banks. Banks, I was trying to think of you've been on the show before.
It's been a while. I think I was on one maybe within the last 3 or 4 years or so, but it may have been like 4 years ago or something. Otherwise, maybe 12 years before that or whatever.
So I have here's it's actually more times than I thought. The last time you were on was May 7th of 2020.
Oh, okay.
Then you were on December 20th of 2017, June of 2017, and then April of 2017. So you were 3 times in 2017.
Oh.
People forget about that.
Yeah. Wow.
You were on a very good episode that I liked, episode 103. You were on, and then the other guest on that was Nate Boyer, who was a former Seattle Seahawk.
Oh, wow.
So
I got to catch up with him.
Yeah, you guys should catch up. I don't think he lives there anymore. But he was a long snapper for the Seattle Seahawks for a period of time. Okay, so you're back now. We have a lot to discuss because nobody's gotten the update in 2 years, over almost 3 years here.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I mean, the people are really clamoring. I
get emails weekly. It's like, give me the Banks update. Yeah, big money.
I had to close my DMs because it was just getting out of hand.
Get out of hand. Yeah. So, do you prefer big money banks or large money banks?
I think outside of the the public sphere, big money is fine.
Okay, just big money. Okay,
yeah.
I don't even need to put the last.
It also does depend on whether or not that username is taken.
Okay.
I have to go to large
money. I see. So it has happened before where.
Yes, maybe the impetus of large money.
Yeah. So people that don't know, you created our intro theme song, which I think we want to do an update. I forgot to tell you this, but I think at some point we're going to want an update of that soon. We're doing a revamp, Chubstep revamp, if possible. But anyway, it's been great. It's been because we basically were copyright infringement for maybe the first year of the show, because that was just a different dubstep song that we put some voiceovers over, and then you created a new dubstep song. So thank you for that. And also on this, so Beggs, I used the Zoom account for a few different things, and I was in a meeting earlier today and I forgot that it had these green lips that it puts on me. These have these ridiculous green lips here.
Oh, I'm colorblind, so I can't. It's hard to
see.
I can't tell
okay.
So, but now I see. Now I can tell. Yeah, it's hot.
So I forgot that these were on, and I turned on the video, and it just had these green lips. So for those watching on YouTube, Chubstep Podcast on YouTube. Okay, so Banks, here's a game I have for you. It's called Banks Rates Banks.
Okay.
and so
10.
here's the thing. So you're going to be rating this on a scale of 1 to 8. Because there's going to be 8 banks, and I'm not going to give you them all and then you rate them. I'm going to give you the name, and then you're going to give me the rating 1 to 8, but you can't use that number once you've used it. And you're not going to know the next one until you get the next one. So you got to think ahead of what might be coming, because once you use the number, it's gone. And so these are a combination of real people, fake people, and companies.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. This is good.
And so I'm going to need a rationale for all these.
Yeah.
So again, 1 to 8, 1 being the highest. We'll go 1 is your favorite banks.
Right.
8 is your least favorite of the banks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, have you thought about this before?
I'm not a Banks, so I can't rate other banks properly. Like I could, but people would not trust my opinion on it.
You'd probably get it very wrong.
Exactly. It's it's not my place, right? It's not my place, and I would definitely get it wrong. So the first one is Tyra Banks.
Oh,
and Tyra I need Banks. Rationale for each of these. So yeah,
I'm not a big Tyra Banks fan.
Okay, what's the reason for that?
I think, this might come as a shock, but I think she's a little full of herself.
How dare you?
I think she brought on a lot of, troubled young people onto her show and then spun it into how awesome she is.
America's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
She was known for that show. And then, I think since that time, it has not held up well as far as what people's opinion of it is.
And the Tyra Banks show.
Oh, I didn't watch the show. You're a big Tyra Banks show fan?
That's worse. Yeah. I watch it. I've seen my fair share.
Okay.
I've seen enough to give her I'm going to give her a 6 out of 8.
Okay, 6 out of 8. That's fair. Okay, so I'm keeping track of this, so we'll know.
Okay, thank you.
People can update that. 6 has been taken now. Okay. Next, we have Banksy.
Wow. Super indifferent on Banksy.
Okay.
But I'm so indifferent on it. It's him, them, whatever. I feel like that's actually an advantage, right? To be so neutral.
Yes. So in Banksy, do they actually know who Banksy is, or is it just I'm always confused by the Banksy thing because I don't follow Banksy or really know too much about Banksy other than some sort of artist that always does these extravagant things, and then some people claim it's a Banksy, but it's not actually Banksy, and they don't know. Like, is there actually somebody that they have associated with Banksy, the name?
I don't think so. Last time I checked, which is not very recently, they don't actually know who they are.
Okay.
But let's see. Just because the art seems fine.
Yes.
It's just on public land, but it's good.
Yeah.
Right? Or it's on somebody's wall, right? And I'm gonna have to give Banksy a 4.
Okay, we're 4, and before you finalize that, I'm gonna pull up some Banksy pictures. I'm gonna share this on my screen. Yeah, let's look up some of these here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing flowers.
Of cocktail, it's flowers, right?
Yep. Yep. Good point. This is a girl's a heart-shaped balloon.
Yeah. Letting go of the balloon. It's not
bad. That's just Christopher Walken.
That's just like Christopher Walken, yeah.
And a girl de-pantsing a soldier.
See, that's funny. That's almost funny. Actually, I think this is solidifying my 4.
Okay. You're feeling more strongly about this. Again, people can check this out on
Google.com.
Google.com, YouTube.
Shout out to Google.
Or they could just Google Banksy on their own and find out what the results were. Okay, so you're giving Banksy a 4 here. Okay, so 4 and 6 are taken. Okay.
I was less impressed after seing pictures.
Okay.
For some reason, it was a little higher in my head.
I actually kind of agree with you after seeing those initial pictures. Mm-hmm. Joseph A. Bank, suit company.
Ooh. Let's see. I've never acquired a garment from this company, so I can't speak to the quality. I like the idea of affordable formal wear.
Yes.
But I have to.
Would it help to wonder? What do you want to know about the company? I can tell you maybe some things that would help. Is there any sort of things like that that could persuade you or give you?
I want to know if it's a quality, item.
Okay,
which is going to be hard to find. Just out of.
So I'll just give you a little background on them. They're not just another menswear retailer. What makes them unique is what has attracted customers to their store since 1905. Heritage of quality workmanship, an extensive selection of beautifully made, classically styled, tailored, casual clothing, and prices typically 20 to 30% below their competitors. You want me to keep going?
No, I think. Okay. That sounds great. I have to say.
We have a bank notes
only
section. Bank notes section that could be helpful for you.
a banknotes.
180 stores nationwide. 4 seasonal catalogs with toll-free ordering 24/7, 100% guaranteed of satisfaction paying every item, and they've been around since 1905. Those are the banknotes.
Well, I think I'm suspicious of such an old company getting into the discount game.
Okay.
That I feel like there's probably nefarious practices going on.
Okay.
That's just my uneducated
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
For so in case their lawyers are listening, but I think it's gonna put it a 5.
Okay. You're trying to be safe here, doing these kind of middle.
Well, I think I'm very scared. I'm afraid of some curveballs coming out.
Okay. There might be a curveball.
Yeah.
The next one. Have you seen the movie Father of the Bride?
I have not.
Okay, this is going to be tough. So
Well,
Steve
tell me
Steve Martin is the main character in that movie. His character's name is George Banks. I'll show you a picture.
I need a picture.
Yeah. Now Steve Martin has looked the same for 30 years.
Right.
So the picture is not going to.
This is going to be a picture of Steve Martin.
Yeah, it's a picture of Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like Steve. I thought I did. Let's make sure.
Here he is. So the concept.
I do not like that. That movie poster.
Him getting kissed, yeah. And Father Bride
with his look like, oh my gosh. Ooh.
Yeah, so that's the kind of thing here, right? The whole concept is that his
his
daughter is getting married to a guy he thinks his daughter's like too young to get married. He's not ready to let her go. Then Martin Short is a design, like basically a wedding planner that puts a super extravagant, overpriced wedding on, and he has to deal with all the interactions of the family and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's the concept of the movie.
That sounds like it sounds wacky.
Yes.
Okay. So I
can tell you what it got on Rotten Tomatoes. 70%.
Okay. 70%. Okay.
70.
Well, I guess let's see. He sounds like a good guy.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. I mean, he's worried about his daughter. I mean, how old is his daughter? Off the top of your head.
Top of my head, mid-20s.
Okay, well, I mean, it's young by today's standards, but I feel like it's. I don't think he's doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So, but do I like him better than Banksy? And Joseph A. Bank and I would say yes. I think I do. I like this guy better, so I'm going to put him at 3. This is my number 3 bank.
Okay.
So
the next one is an institution. We're talking about Fifth Third Bank.
Now, see, I predicted the banks were coming.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was saving these last spots for.
So you have 1, 2.
I'm automatically putting it behind Tyra Banks.
Fifth Third Bank is 7.
Yeah, Fifth Third Bank is 7.
Okay.
Obviously,
and do you have
everybody.
A reason for that?
Well, here's the thing. I think we've all heard the silly complaint about the name, right? There's no 5th Street and 3rd Street intersect, right? But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, is that there probably could be, right? I'm sure that
Fifth Avenue. It could be like a 5th Avenue and a 3rd Street or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, or it's streets curve, right? So
yeah,
that kind of it annoys me that people aren't open-minded when they criticize that.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I think because of that, I'm putting them at 7.
Okay. 7 is fair. Next is Carlton Banks from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
That's Carlton.
Yeah, that's right. I've never seen the show, which is crazy. But I've seen the dance.
Yes. Yeah.
And with the character, is this the character or the actor?
This is the character.
Oh, okay. Let's see. So I guess I'm just going to be going off of the dance.
Yeah. Based purely off the Carlton dance.
And,
yes. So
where am I putting the dance on this guy? I mean, it's probably one of the least offensive dances.
That's true.
That I can think of. So I'm assuming he's equally amenable from as he is a good dancer. I'm going to put him at number 2.
Okay. So we're going to start from the beginning here. Here's what you got so far. Tyra Banks 6, Banksy 4, Joseph A. Bank 5, George Banks 3 from Steve Martin for the other ride, Fither Banks 7, Carlton Banks 2.
Correct.
All right, now we're going to go Bank of America so we can get the full 8.
Yeah, well, this is interesting because I do bank with Bank of America.
Okay, yes.
So this is Banks' bank. But I still got to put it dead last.
Okay.
Yeah.
You haven't. Okay, you could room for improvement.
Yes, absolutely. I think there's lots of room for improvement.
Okay. Now the last one here. We'll shift it to Matt Banks.
Oh God. Well, I mean, I don't know how I can. So I'm gonna. Okay. Well, I guess with my available spots, I'm gonna put myself at number 1.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely think I'm better than any of these fictional characters or the artist or billion-dollar institutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you gave yourself a rating as 1. There we go. Okay, perfect. That's Banks rates Banks.
I'm all about me, baby.
Thank you for that. That was perfect.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, lots of fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know how I'm surprised didn't make the list? Ernie Banks.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about I was trying to do ones that you might know. I didn't know if you know Ernie Banks.
I only know baseball and the name, so it wouldn't have
been
that's
exactly time. That was exactly. It was like I know the name, but it's not like I know Ernie Banks. So there's other Bankses that are out there. Okay.
There are. Hey, why don't you guys call in with your favorite banks?
Yeah, and everybody email favorite different banks.
Leave a comment with your own ranking.
Chubstep.podcast@gmail.com. Okay, Banks, you said you had a juicy topic you wanted to potentially get into. Is that still accurate?
Yeah, one topic that I think could be juicy, or well, I think it's damp. So is the Taco Bell price increases.
Oh,
I don't know if you've been a victim of this, but by us, we just got about a 100% price increase at our Seattle Taco Bell. Things like a cheesy gordita crunch or a crunch wrap supreme, those those big items, those are running over $6.
Yeah,
it's wild. And I did a little Googling, and it looks like these are regional price increases whenever they do have price increases. But this was like in one step, because friend of the show, T Baby, and I would go to T Bell.
Yeah.
And it was within 2 months, the prices of some things doubled. Like our orders were like almost $30.
That's crazy. Yeah. It to me, the best part about Taco Bell is part of it is the pricing, right? I mean, a lot of these places, I mean, because it's like, and I'm looking at soft taco. This is just on their website. Soft taco is $1.69 now, which doesn't seem insane, but that used to be like 79 cents.
But it could be more other places.
Yes.
That's what I was reading on Reddit. People were all on r/livemoss.
Okay.
People were all sharing their price increases and getting in a huff.
Okay. Yeah, no, I could see that. And there's probably like they do they kind of have the apps that tell you the different prices of different gas stations. I wonder if that's going to be a local, maybe it's a good business opportunity. You have like the map, it just shows every Taco Bell and it just shows different prices at various Taco Bells.
That is a great opportunity. I hope somebody is listening and seizes that opportunity, because I would use that app.
Yeah.
I would drive up to 40 miles to save on my Taco Bell order.
To save $5 on your Taco Bell order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the real thing was like just how sudden and huge the increase was.
Yeah.
At least by us. Like something gradual, they can sneak it by us, but you must think we're idiots.
The only other crazy jump I've seen like that recently has been eggs. And we talked about that on Chubstep maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. The egg thing's crazy. But I I wonder what it is, like, because there's a bunch of different ingredients in these, right? It's all like the meat, tortilla, and cheese, and I mean that's basically the main. Those things are in like every single, so maybe if the price of one of those went up a lot,
yeah,
maybe
or
that's
I
a
wonder
factor.
if they were just held out as long as they could and then just
Yeah,
dumped the entire.
exactly. Yeah,
which,
but
I mean, yeah.
Well, just but the risk is then you notice that, right? If it slowly went up, you wouldn't probably notice it as much.
Yeah, it's hard to change my budget, right?
Yes.
A slow increase, I can work that into my budget, my Taco Bell meals. But this kind of increase is gonna, I'm gonna have to go to the grocery store or something instead.
Exactly. The cheapest taco there is the spicy potato soft taco.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had potato something or other from them, and it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
Well, I mean, definitely not great.
No, no.
It's a potato and a tortilla.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how great it could be, but yeah, no, that is interesting. There's a few places to me that I've noticed in the last like 3 or 4 years, like used to be places I'd be like, oh, I'll just go in there for like a lunch if I had like some extra time, and I've stopped doing that. I would say like Panera is one of those places. To me, Panera is at the price point where I'm like, it's not great enough food where I feel like spending that amount of money.
The weird thing about price increase, I haven't been to Panera in like a decade, so I'm not sure. But the weird thing about the price increases, at least by here, is like I feel like everything is the same price. Like whether I go to a bar and get like fish and chips, it's like $17. Whether I go to like a nice restaurant and like a nice like middle of the road like Tex-Mex or whatever kind of place, it's also like $17 an entree. Like, it's all just the same.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. Along those lines, Banks, what is your order at a restaurant? Do you have an order at a restaurant that you stop doing because it just always fails? Like, are you been disappointed with it so many times? When you talk about fish and chips, for me, unless I know a place is known for fish and chips, I stop ordering fish and chips places because I'm disappointed with it so much. And I love it when it's good. When it's good, I'm like, I love fish and chips. But there's so many times you get like the fish is like soggy, like the breading soggy or something like that. And it just has like weird taste. The fries are bad. Like there's things like that. Are there orders like that for you that you no longer, or that you stopped risking?
I'm trying to think. Fish and chips around here is pretty solid. So I guess that wouldn't be a good example for me, but I don't know. It's like a lot of times, anytime I need to do like a modification of something, sometimes I just don't order. Like if I see something on an item that I'm like, oh, I don't want that, like aioli or whatever. Yeah, I've just given up because it's like a 50% shot that I'll actually get my request.
Oh yeah, yeah. Most of the time that comes with like extra. Aioli, now it's double the amount, or they forgot the wrong thing. The other one for me is crab cakes. That's the other one that I stopped ordering at places unless I know it's known for its crab cakes. There's so many crab cakes out there that are like very fishy tasting or like just all filler and there's like no crab. It's like it's hard to get a good crab cake.
Like the mayo things, like mayo and crab meat?
It's in the little ball.
Okay.
I
don't know if I've
ever had one.
Crab cake.
Well, don't just go to a random place and get it. If a place is known for one, go for it. But it's kind of like a dough mayo. I don't know. They call it a cake, but it's more like the size of like an English muffin, or maybe a little more like a hockey puck almost type of thing.
Like a fish hockey puck.
Like a fish hockey puck. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll give it a shot then.
Yeah. It sounds appealing that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, I know guys. All we need is a beer in our hand and a bro by our side, and we are out of the way.
Banks, you're a big car guy. You're good at fixing cars. I've seen pictures. I've actually don't know if I've sat there and witnessed you do it. So there's potential that you take a picture, you bring it somewhere and you bring it back and it all could be fake, right? There's potential you don't know.
From your perspective, I could understand the small skepticism.
Yeah.
There's a small possibility.
Yeah. But what I was thinking about is they talk about knowledge is power is a cliche type of thing they say. But I think about that when people I think we might have had this conversation a few weeks ago, when people don't know anything or don't know enough information about things in their everyday lives, they can get burned really easily. And one of I think the big ones is cars. And I think you and me have enough information where we can do most things on a car by ourselves if need be.
I would agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we were to bring it to a shop to get something fixed, we would know if somebody was screwing us over, because we would know how long it would take, or we know roughly how much the parts cost, that sort of a thing. Right. So you could figure out, okay, they're going to have some markup, but you would know what's within reason. Right. But there are so many people out there that don't have that knowledge. And I think it's like, I don't know how you teach that in a school or something like that, but I think it's so important to have some basic like knowledge of a lot of things. And I see this, I'll just give you an example and we go back to cars after, but like in my condo association that I live in, like they were like, oh, we're going to hire some electrician to fix our back stair light. I think I might have told you this too. And, it would have cost a couple $100 to get this electrician to come out, and the stair light was pointing up along the back stairs instead of down the stairs like it was supposed to. And I went there, I'm like, before we call somebody and have the whole homeowner association pay for it, I'm just going to go check it out. I went out and it was literally just like 4 screws to take out the little lid. And then I just flipped this light around inside. Oh right. It took me not even 5 minutes.
Right.
And it had been like this for apparently like 4 or 5 years. And it was ridiculous. At the point, and they'd been complaining about this. I didn't know what I don't go down those stairs, so I didn't know what they were talking about. Then finally they're like about to call somebody, like, I'll look at it. And it was like this, like there's such a little knowledge there.
Just the ability to take a screw out.
Yeah. Or just like to think that way, right? I mean, because like even if you don't have electrical experience, you could know to like, that's just a basic logical, just like, I don't know if it's just a mindset type of a thing of like, hey, how hard is this to do?
Yeah, like just fixing stuff yourself, or working on stuff, or not being afraid to like, there is like a core like it's knowledge that that you have to like be confident that you can do that kind of stuff. But I've had lots of people like interesting like conversations where it comes up that I work on cars, and they're always like, oh yeah, I wish I knew how, like I always want, and I'm like, you probably don't need to know. What I always say is like, you probably don't need to know how to work on a car, but you should just know somebody who does.
Yeah.
And like talk to them at least.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like anytime that comes up with people, I always say like, just please, if you're gonna get work done in your car, like just text me or something, because like it's 2 seconds of my time, or like, I could do it. And you know, it could be like your situation, like it ends up being just nothing for me to do. And it's like, if I'm happy to do that work for you for free, if it's literally like 5 minutes of my time and it's going to cost you $200.
Exactly.
Or just text me what these people are trying to pay. Right. So like, even just like, I think some people just don't even want to deal with it. Right. They don't even want to find out if they're getting screwed. They just want to pay for it.
I know. And I think it just, in the long run, the amount of money that you're going to spend doing that, just where you could just spend a little bit of time getting some baseline knowledge, the amount of time you're going to spend, and also just doing the research online, right? Like so many of the things nowadays with YouTube and Google, it's like so many things that are wrong in a car, you can just Google it and somebody's had that problem with a car. Like cars, every single thing.
That's
in a
how
car
we know how to
broken.
work on cars.
Exactly. Yeah. No, we have a much easier time than like our grandparents did working on cars, because they had manuals and stuff that might have specific things, but it's so every car, whatever problem you're having in your car, somebody else has had that same problem and they fixed it before. And there's a YouTube video of them showing exactly how to do it.
And it's interesting now is like, we get like, as we've had the internet longer and longer, something I've noticed, like when I've recently been working on my cars, is like, I'm Googling things and finding forum posts, and some are from like 2005,
exactly,
like 2001. I mean, I saw one that was like 98. A forum post of some guy, we're working on a car that's like from the 80s, right? So they existed then too, but it's like, this guy was writing this closer to when the car was made than now. And like, but it's still in this archive. So like, it's only going to be getting like, every answer is eventually going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's and so that's why, and I hear that same thing, like, oh, I wish I knew how to work in cars. It's like, it's not like some of the stuff, half of the stuff that I've done in my car is something I've never done before. It's like me just watching a YouTube video. It's not like I know anything more than you would know. I just like grabbed a YouTube video and I literally did the exact things this guy is showing me how to do.
Yeah. So some of it comes down to like just being able to use like hand tools and stuff, and not like knowing when you're gonna like mess up a bolt or something, or like
over tighten it, or I get that.
Yeah,
I get
like,
that point of it.
I can kind of get, because that is the kind of thing where like for us we know how to like take something apart a little bit, but for somebody else they'll use the wrong screwdriver, mess it up, and then even for us it would be like a nightmare to
that is it's a valid point. It's a valid point. There is within reason. I think it would be you would have to start with something like doing your brakes or something simpler and then going from there, right?
But it is just like a baseline, like how to take stuff apart knowledge that like could probably be a weekend class at a community college.
And I don't know if people would actually sign up for it even if it existed, right? Because I feel like there'd still be people that would be like, oh, I don't, whatever, I just pay some guy to do it.
It would probably be a pretty boring class, but it would be helpful.
I agree. I mean, it would be really nice if it were something taught in like a high school seniors class or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's a base, something you required. Kind of like home ec, I feel like was kind of designed to be like that. Like home ec was supposed to be a teaching class with like cooking and stuff, which is a good baseline to have, but also there needs to be a little bit more of like a basic home things around the house that you fix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a girl at school.
She hot?
And she's super smart.
Hot?
Funny and cool.
Hot?
Yes, she's hot, super hot.
Nice.
Binks, I was curious more talking in the world of VR a little bit, because you're very knowledgeable in that.
Reality.
Virtual reality. Yeah, I didn't know what VR stood for, so thank you for explaining that to me.
That's all.
What sort of things? Because I think there are certain people I know that have like the Oculus or things like that, and they have some knowledge of it. But for people that don't, where do you see kind of VR, virtual reality, right?
Yeah.
Where do you see that?
Close enough. Yeah.
Okay, close enough. Yeah. It's my accent. I don't speak well.
That's right. Yeah.
But where do you see that going? Like, where do you see the path? You've kind of seen it grow the last couple of years. Where do you see it kind of progressing? Do you see it kind of like a lot of like most households using it? Do you see it like as a replacement for video games? Like, kind of where do you see it going down the line?
I think it's still a long way away from being everywhere. Like, the more I learn about it, the more I'm thinking 10 years, like at least. And even then it's not going to be replacing like, just anything else that we have like outright.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you just need to put a big thing on your face, right? Like that's a lot. Even if you had glasses that were miracle glasses, like sometimes you don't want to wear glasses. So
yeah.
Like, I think that's just that alone is like, a big deal, and all the other just complications that come with it. But I could definitely be wrong. There's more and more small companies making things that are cheaper and cheaper, so that could make some novel idea catch on.
Yeah. But okay, so it's further away than maybe people think to where it's everywhere. But
definitely. I think so.
Yeah, but there's a potential, and you see more of a supplemental thing, not like replacing your television or replacing your video game system.
One cool thing. I think they're a Chinese company called Unreal. They make these glasses that they're basically they're almost like just a like a second display.
Okay.
In like how simple they are, and it connects with a cord to your phone or to anything, and they're AR glasses, right? But then it just mirrors that display, just huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it does some kind of tracking, so it'll stay like reasonably in the same spot if you move your head and stuff. But it doesn't do anything other than that, and it's like that's the kind of neat product I could see, like maybe it's not trying to do too much, right? And it is just like, oh, now I just have a huge screen without needing to put on like a crazy mechanism.
Yes. Yeah. Kind of smaller devices and things. Technology always seems to get slower, right? I mean, think of how the computers used to be to what they are now, right? I mean, it's potential as things go on to get smaller and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Except for phones have gotten bigger.
Phones are getting bigger, but that's kind of the interesting part is they're bigger because of the screen, right?
Yes.
To get bigger, and so like, if we have something we wear on our face that makes giant screens, maybe the phone can get small again.
And people's eyes are getting smaller.
People's eyes are getting smaller. That's what I've heard as well from you just now.
That was me that said that right now.
Do you know why that is?
Because the screens are getting bigger.
Oh, okay. Oh, so we can get our smaller eyes.
Yeah. Yes.
I heard that. I think that's it's like a perk, right?
Yes.
You get to have these nice smaller eyes.
Yes, for the bigger screen. Exactly. Okay, perfect. Was there anything else, Banks, you want to get? We covered a lot here. Was there any other Chubstep lore or topics you wanted to discuss? I know you're only on 4 times a series, so
right.
So
well,
far.
the only other topic, I guess it wasn't a Chubstep thing, but the only other like cool thing I had that I saw was now there's some flying cars coming out that are like basically like drones, with the 4 propellers.
Yes.
But they're getting them like smaller and closer together.
Oh.
And then like I think somebody has like a almost like something the size of like a quad bike.
Okay.
But it's got these fans on each corner.
Crazy.
But I guess the overall size from what I've seen is like it's getting kind of reasonable, right?
Okay.
And I saw another prototype that had like they basically put a car body over all the fans, and it looked weird, but it was like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, it's getting closer because I saw one, like a mock-up of one at Consumer Electronics Show a few years ago, and it was like, massive,
like a big helicopter.
Like thing. Exactly, bigger than a helicopter. You're like, where is this going to land, right?
Right.
So I know what you're saying. So that is pretty cool to have something that could be small enough where you could see like, oh, I could see maybe this could fit in a reasonable size, because it's not realistic to have these massive things, right? At least on a consumer scale, right? Those would be on more of a commercial scale that would go from one stop to another stop. But if you're talking about a potential thing, it always scares me, because you go in the air, and then when something goes wrong, right? Something breaks on your car, you're just stuck on the side of the road. Something breaks in the air and you fall to the ground, right? That's always the risk with the air thing. So, I'm interested to see are there any of the major car companies working on that you know of, or is it more like independent people that are?
I think they're all independent people, like making just these one-off things. I don't know if I think like the only car one I saw was like it was all like chained up, right?
Okay,
like King Kong or something.
Oh,
and so it couldn't fly around, but they did show. I saw a dude like riding on one of those flying quad things. And like instead of it being like a seat that's like 2 feet wide, and then drone propellers that are like 30 feet wide. The whole thing was like still kind of reasonable, and it looked like it looked awesome. He was just flying around on like a future bike. It's probably very loud and windy, but he was doing it.
Yeah, but when you look at how much stuff changes in, like, you looked at the initial cars that came out, and then 20 years later, they were completely different. 20 years later than that, they're completely different, right? I mean, technology changes so fast. If there's prototypes out there that are like even somewhat functional, it's kind of cool what the future might be, 10, 20 years from now. It might be a legitimate like potential thing. And it just, I don't, obviously people know this with planes and stuff, but they also go very fast. But it does make a huge difference when you don't have to take some stupid road and stop every stoplight. And if you just had a direct route that you could go somewhere, it would save so much time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you remember seeing those like maybe like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, those like quote unquote flying cars that were like a big plane, and it's like wings folded up until it was like technically the width of a car? And then, and then it had wheels in the bottom that could like drive it around. It was
it's like a plane that also drove around.
And then it just like its wings like a gull just squished up to be able to fit on a lane. It's like that's not.
It's kind of like similar to the Harrier jet, right? Almost like the way some of those I think fold up, but that can kind of like go up and land.
Right.
There was this is a side note on that. There was a very good documentary called "Hey Pepsi, Where's My Jet?" Did you see that?
I know the thing it's about, but
I think
the documentary.
I mentioned. I think we were talking about this the other day, but this guy basically finds a loophole in Pepsi's ad that he could get a jet with a certain amount of Pepsi points, and he finds a way to get the amount of Pepsi points, and then ends up suing them because they don't want to give him the Harrier jet. But it's a good Netflix documentary for those that want it. Perfect. Well, thank you, Banks. I like that. Next time, maybe instead of the Zoom, we'll have you fly in on the car, and then we'll just do this in person.
Yeah, I'll just get one of those cars and zip on in. It should be really quick.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Banks. And then we're glad Paul wasn't here, right?
I wasn't sure if maybe Paul was going to be here for part of it or something, but I was really happy to see that there was no Paul involved whatsoever.
Yep. Me too. All right. Thanks again. All right. Thanks, Banks. The show has ended. Be gone.
Now you know you got to go.
Peace. This is Yasin.